Download free photos, music, and more at TonyKlarich.com. You can use them for personal or commercial use. Switched stance. In 1991, the Budweiser Water Ski Pro Tour added kneeboarding and wakeboarding competitions. For the first time in several years, the kneeboarding event was not a hydroslide exclusive, and all the best riders had a chance to participate. But even that couldn't lure me out of retirement from competitive kneeboarding. Sea-Doo was one of the major sponsors, so they towed the flip-out portion of the competition. The sponsorship money was what made the event possible, but the humdrum of back-and-forth rolls was brought even lower with super small wakes. Tricks was better behind a regular boat, using the AKA rules of two 20-second passes to do as many different tricks as possible. For the next few years, the top riders were David Jennings, Mario Fossa, Jonathan McDonald, Yates Perry, and Ted Bevilacqua. I still attended many pro tour stops as a hot dog performer and also offered my growing chiropractic skills to help my fellow skiers. The kneeboarders brought their usual supply of crowd-pleasing tricks, while wakeboarding struggled to find its identity. Several trick skiers tried to cross over to wakeboarding, including world trick record holder Corey Picos. His wakeboard runs looked more like trick skiing, including line overs and toe turns. Most of the rest of the wakeboarders stuck to the basics with wake 360s and basic rolls. Kneeboarding still had the overall edge in tricks for the first couple of years on the pro tour, but the one rider who stood out above everybody else was Darren Shapiro. His signature move on the wakeboard, the air Rayleigh, always got a huge response. Wakeboarding was starting to express some individuality. By 1993, riders chose wakeboarding in record numbers. There was still a skilled contingent of top kneeboarders, but the ability level of wakeboarders was on even par. The changing of the guard that was a decade in the making was finally at hand. The tipping point from kneeboarding to wakeboarding came in 1993. Kneeboarding was given a golden opportunity to stay relevant in the water sports media with the release of World Publications' Wake and Kneeboarding magazine. The first cover featured the high-flying Darren Shapiro launching a huge air Rayleigh over the top of a low-rolling David Jennings. The symbolism of that premiere picture foretold the eventual outcome. The magazine ran both sports for several months, but the majority of subscribers were adamant about wanting wakeboarding only. Scott Byerly and Gator were the new wakeboarding stars of style. For traditional skiers and kneeboarders, it was hard to understand how riding with a crooked arm constituted style, but Byerly especially exuded a cool mysteriousness that resonated with the youth. With his arrival and the lifestyle he represented, momentum had firmly switched to wakeboarding. Kneeboarding was dropped, and the publication became Wakeboarding Magazine. It signaled a switch in industry support, too. The big money went away from traditional skiing and kneeboarding and into wakeboarding. Kneeboarding was still on the pro tour thanks to Sea-Doo, but its presence was a double-edged sword. The TV coverage was great for national exposure, but the cleaner-cut riders of kneeboarding came across like a squad of robots when compared to the free-riding style of the wakeboarders. In the trick event, wakeboarding started awarding style and air points for 5 tricks per pass. The low-flying, quick tricks of the kneeboarders started to look bland in comparison. Still, it was difficult for us kneeboarders to understand why the company support had slowed to a trickle. Kneeboard sales still topped those of wakeboards for several years during the transition period. It felt like we were the ones who did all the heavy lifting, and now wakeboarding was stepping in to enjoy the fruits of our long labors.